Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're embarking on a deep dive, looking at a really fascinating collection of sources. We've got ministry websites, music streaming platforms, and even song lyrics pulled together here. And our focus, it's a movement deeply committed to making two specific names, Yahweh and Yahshua, known right across the globe. So our mission today is to explore the conviction driving this global effort. Why these names? Why are they seen as so important? And how are they actually carrying this out? You might be surprised by the sheer scope and the passion involved. The sources really suggest this isn't just a mission, but a strong belief that a vital truth tied specifically to these names has been suppressed long enough.
Yeah, what's compelling right away is how clearly the sources lay out their foundational belief. We're looking mainly at messenger studies and seekers of Yahweh ministries. They seem to be the core organizations. And they state, quite directly, they're kept going by the power of Ruach HaKodesh. That's their term for Yahweh Spirit. And you see that emphasis on Hebrew terms right there. And our great love for the truth. Their ultimate aim, they say, is for Yahweh in Yahshua to be glorified. That really sets the tone for everything else.
So it's really this intense focus on these specific names, not just general faith.
Mm-hmm.
What is it about Yahweh and Yahshua that makes them so central? The sources, they keep coming back to that phrase, it really is all in the name.
Exactly. It's that linguistic specificity. Their core belief revolves around proclaiming what they term the sacred names of the Father and Son, Yahweh and Yahshua, and showing their significance to, anyone who believes. This isn't just academic for them. It's viewed as absolutely central to unlocking, a deeper spiritual understanding. And if you connect that to the bigger picture, their whole approach involves embracing Yahweh's ways and lifestyle in the Hebraic roots of our faith.
Okay, so that means things like?
Well, like the commanded feasts, the seventh-day Sabbath practices rooted in the Old Testament that they see as foundational. And part of their stated goal is clearing the fog of religious dogma, which they believe has kind of obscured these original truths over the centuries.
Right. So given this really strong commitment to the names and these Hebraic roots, the big question is how? How does a ministry with such a specific focus get its message out, globally? And the sources show a really strategic approach, especially using music, which is maybe a bit unexpected.
Mm-hmm. Messenger Studies Radio, which was created by Don Butler, seems to be a primary channel. They produce what they call sacred name worship music. And get this, they boast over 300 original songs created using advanced digitization.
Wow, 300 songs. That's a huge catalog.
It is, and it points to a really sustained effort to immerse people in their specific theological view. It shows how powerful they believe music is for getting this message, this truth about the names out there globally.
And the distribution confirms that ambition.
Right, absolutely. Their website apparently has had downloads in 47 countries, and the music itself is streamed live 24/7 on a whole host of platforms. YouTube Music, iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Boomplay, Deezer, the list goes on.
So pretty much everywhere you can stream music.
Pretty much. Just looking at Apple Music, you see their stuff available across Africa, the Middle East, Asia Pacific, Europe, Latin America, North America. It's not just a footprint. It feels like a deliberate, ubiquitous presence, making these names accessible literally anywhere.
That global reach is definitely impressive. And something else that stood out was the funding model. These songs are downloads for, just 69 cents per MP3, and they say every cent directly funds our various projects.
Yeah, and they even specify things like Elder Teddy's travels for baptisms in Yahshua's name.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this microtransaction model where listening directly supports their on-the-ground outreach. It's actually a pretty efficient, listener-driven way to fuel the mission of making these names known.
Okay, so the digital side is massive.
Yeah.
Music, streaming. But is that it? Does it go beyond the screen?
Oh, yes, definitely. The sources show a clear commitment to physical, ground-level outreach, too. It shows they understand that direct engagement is still crucial. For example, they offer translated sermons and studies. These can be printed and shared in any language, which is key for getting the message past digital divides or into areas with limited internet.
And I noticed a very specific outreach mentioned, too, to incarcerated individuals.
Mm-hmm. They provide booklets to prisoners and inmates incarcerated around the world. These can also be printed locally and handed out, and they're available in English and Spanish. It really shows a commitment to reaching, every part of society. They seem to believe everyone needs access to this truth they feel has been hidden.
And who's spearheading this broader outreach?
That seems to fall largely under Seekers of Yahweh Ministries. The director is Elder Teddy Wilson. He's also the creator of a pretty extensive series called Restoring the Hebrew Mind, Over 250 sessions, apparently.
Wow.
Yeah, and they have a physical assembly, too, in Craigmont, Idaho. They describe it as offering a warm and Torah-observant environment. So, adhering to those Old Testament laws and teachings we mentioned, it's a blend, you see, widespread digital reach, but also a tangible community hub.
So it's not just a library or a single meeting place. They're broadcasting live, too.
Yes, exactly. They have Seekers Live Sabbath services broadcast every Saturday, 12:00 PST. And the Restoring the Hebrew Mind sessions go out live every Friday evening at 6 p.m. PST. Plus, their outreach for baptisms is very active. Elders are traveling year-round, speaking at other assemblies, performing baptisms in Yahshua's name.
It paints a picture of a ministry that's really firing on all cylinders. Broad digital reach and very personal hands-on connection.
And you can feel their dedication to expanding this. They put out calls for more feet on the ground, for servants planting seeds. They even use this phrase, hanging signs and making smiles. It's a direct call for active personal involvement in spreading this message they see as vital, this truth about the names they feel needs reclaiming.
Okay, so let's dig a bit deeper into the message itself, especially through their music. The lyrics must offer some real insights. Their songs seem to cover quite a range. Some are about everyday life.
Like everyday gospel. That one talks about simple acts of kindness, how little moments open doors. It suggests Yahshua's love shines through in everything we do, even at the grocery store or post office. There's a line, every checkout line becomes holy ground.
Interesting. So integrating the mission into just daily living.
Exactly, a kind of pervasive lifestyle evangelism. It's not just for church on Saturday. Then you have songs like Grateful for Your Ways, which are more reflective. Lyrics like, thank you, Yahweh, for teaching me your ways, for every promise you lead my days, your word, the lamp that lights my heart. It highlights that personal transformation, they believe, comes from embracing these ways.
And some songs sound more like direct calls to action.
Definitely. Rise and Declare from their Messengers album is a good example. It talks about messengers of light proclaiming glory to Yahweh, his name never dies, and igniting a sacred flame to declare Yahweh's name everywhere. It's a very direct musical call to spread that core message.
And what about the deeper theology in the music?
Yeah, some songs really unpack their core beliefs. Reconciling All from the Mission Yahweh album is quite specific. It describes Yahweh of hosts as the only Eloah, using that Hebrew term for God, and Yahshua, Eloah in flesh. And it says he came to redeem us, to make us one, reconciling all to him. So it directly links the names to their understanding of salvation and unity.
I see. So the names are intrinsically tied to the act of redemption itself and their view.
Precisely. And another song, This Side of the Sun, reinforces this idea of an active God identified by name throughout history. It traces Yahweh's presence from Abraham to Moses right into the present, stating, Yahweh of hosts on this side of the sun.
And you mentioned encouragement, too.
Right. Songs like You Got This offer messages of trust in challenging times. It has the line, the battle's not mine, it's yours divine, relying on Yahweh's strength. And Step in the Light is more upbeat, a call to praise, move with the spirit, dance in faith. So taken together, the music constantly reinforces their core message. Divine presence, guidance, and the unique power they believe resides in these specific names, Yahweh and Yahshua.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, the listener? This deep dive, it really shows a ministry driven by this profound conviction about the importance of these divine names, names they believe have been suppressed or maybe overlooked for far too long. And we've seen this incredibly comprehensive strategy they have to share this message globally.
Yeah, using everything from sophisticated digital music production and worldwide streaming to really grassroots efforts like printed materials, prison outreach, and these active traveling elders performing baptisms.
It really makes you consider the kind of organizational effort and, well, the spiritual passion needed to sustain a movement so focused on specific language, specific names, and how they define truth within that very specific framework. The sources strongly suggest they believe knowing these names can unlock the scriptures in a whole new light, connecting people back to an ancient biblical Hebrew understanding they see as essential.
What's really striking, I think, is that unwavering dedication to one core mission, making the names Yahweh and Yahshua known globally, seeing it as a truth that's been suppressed long enough. And this deep dive shows just how many different ways they're pursuing that: music, study, outreach, community building. It does raise some interesting questions, doesn't it? Like, what does it mean for a belief system to be so tightly bound to specific names? And how does that specific conviction fuel such widespread, consistent action, whether it's through a song, a study session, or just those simple acts of kindness. It certainly gives us something to think about regarding the enduring power we sometimes place in names and the incredible passion that can drive a message right across the world.